goes beyond physical ability. And a person can think so many things with his mind, and he can capture so many things in his mind, which physically he's not able to do. Sometimes you want to do something very foolish, but in your mind, you want to do it, but in physical, you don't have the strength. You don't have the ability to do it. Why? Because there is an obstacle. And Allah's Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam is telling us that, hey, this mind, stop from thinking about things which is going to take you away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and which will make you look bad in society. So the mind needs to be protected, because every action which comes into existence starts from the mind. Person thinks about it, and then after that he starts doing it. Now this mind, if it's sound, then it's only going to capture sound things. And if the mind is corrupted, then it's going to start capturing bad things. And by looking at bad things, a person starts getting ideas of doing bad things. When you look at wrong things, you get ideas of doing wrong. So that's why, to protect your mind, you got to protect your sight. Because this eyes, it captures and it takes it into your mind, and then now the mind has it. So the first step of having haya from Allah Azza wa Jal is that a person protects his mind, what he's capturing. The hifz is an ability that Allah has given to an individual. And by sinning, the ability of capturing good things in the mind goes away. Imam al-Shafi'i, rahimahullah, there's a great, poetry that he mentions that about his complaint to his teacher about the difficulty of memorizing. Back in the days, the things were memorized, and now the phone becomes smart and human becomes dumb. But in reality, the capturing of everything started with capturing in mind. People used to memorize so many things. In the Arabs, it was known that they didn't know how to write, but their mind was sharp. Their memory was sharp. They would remember the lineage of their own all the way from their name all the way to Adam alayhi salam. This is how sharp their mind were. One thing they look at, they will memorize it. They will have it in their mind. And that's the greatest thing that Allah has used for the preservation of deen is the mind. It's the capturing of hifz. It's capturing in mind. That's why you have Hufaz al-Quran, then you have Hufaz al-Hadith, then you have Hufaz of everything. Right? In the days you had Hafizes of everything. Only Hafiz al-Quran we have now. But you have Hufaz al-Hadith. Who's a Hafiz al-Hadith? Hafiz al-Hadith is a person who has memorized more than 200,000 ahadith. When we say Al-Hafiz ibn Kathir, he's a Hafiz al-Hadith. He's not Hafiz al-Quran only. Hafiz ibn Hajar al-Asqalani is a Hafiz al-Hadith. Hafiz al-Suyuti is a Hafiz al-Hadith. These are Hufaz of Hadith, memorized over 200,000 ahadith. Right? Allama Bunuri rahmatullah, who's a scholar just of recent time, Allama Bunuri rahmatullah alayhi memorized all the Sahih Sitta, all the 6 books of Hadith, Bukhari, Muslim, Tirmidhi, Abu Dawood, Sunan ibn Majah. So the hifz, the mind, when you make your mind memorize good things, it will stop yourself from memorizing bad things. And when you capture bad things in your mind, good things starts to disappear. So Imam al-Shafi'i rahmatullah alayhi said to his teacher that I'm having difficulty in memorizing. شَكَوْتُ إِلَى وَكِيعٍ سُوءَ حِفْظِي فَأَوْصَانِي إِلَى تَرْكِ الْمَعَاصِي فَإِنَّ الْعِلْمَ نُورٌ مِّنْ إِلَهِ وَنُورُ اللَّهِ لَا يُعْطَى لِعَاصِي. He said, I told my teacher that I'm having difficulty memorizing. My teacher told me that to stop sinning. فَأَوْصَانِي إِلَى تَرْكِ الْمَعَاصِي. He told me stop sinning. Why? Because the knowledge of Allah, the ilm of Allah, it's a light. And a light does not go into a heart which is filled with darknesses of sin. So that's why the first thing from haya Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, person needs to protect his mind. He needs to protect his sight. Because eyesight is something that captures things in their mind. And that's why you had scholars when they would look at something. Allama Anwar Shah Kashmiri rahmatullah alayh, one of the greatest scholar, Allama Zahid al-Kawthari rahimahullah says, when I met Allama Anwar Shah Kashmiri rahimahullah, I asked him about the how many tafasir have been written, and this is 1930s, not very far. I met him and I asked him, Allama Anwar Shah Kashmiri passed away in 30s, so probably in the 20s. He met him and he said, I asked him how many tafasir have been written so far. He said, أكثر من ألف مئة, more than 100,000 tafasir have been written. وقد قرأت كلهم أو أكثر منهم, and I've read all of them. And Allama Anwar Shah Kashmiri has said about his mind that when he would read something once, he would never forget it. Just reading it, he will never forget it. So these are the minds that Allah has given to this intellect that Allah has given to insan. So the first thing when it comes to haya is to protect our mind. It's to protect our sight. What we are capturing inside today, nowadays in the busy life, and especially all the social media, there is so many things a person is able to watch in just seconds. You know, people start watching feeds on their phone, one after another, and so much garbage is just going inside and again and again and again. And this mind just becomes corrupted. It doesn't have the ability for you to do good action. There is no motivation of good things. Why? Because the mind has been corrupted. You became the feed to the device rather than the device becoming feed to you. You are feeding it. You're feeding your mind to it, and you're corrupting your mind to it. So that's number one we have to protect, is our mind, and that is going to be the first step of haya. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us the understanding and the ability to practice. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi, subhanakallahumma bihamdik, wa nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Jazakumullah khairan.